This is the best cue because I have 7 sci-fi horror movies to crochet to for the entire week. So you have one movie every single day this week. Hopefully that's enough to finish up whatever project you're working on. Not only am I going to go through the movies, have a little chit chat about it, but I'm also going to let you know how easy it is to crochet to them. So if you need a neck light, you need all the lights on. Is that even going to be functional? Is going to totally ruin the ambiance, the experience of this movie. How is it crocheting to it? I'm going to let you know with all of them as well. And finally, all the way at the end of the video, we got to talk yarn. So I'm going to chit chat about what I'm working on, the yarn that I'm using. Obviously, I want to know what you're working on as well. First up, we have the Astronaut. You get an hour and 31 minutes of crochet time. This is a movie where I saw the movie trailer and knew 100% I wanted to watch this movie. Also, the movie poster I really enjoyed. After returning from her first space mission, Sam is placed in isolation for Earth rehabilitation. That is basically all you need to know, because this is one of those movies where the more you know about it, it's gonna kind of ruin it for you. We're trying to figure out, is the things that are happening at the house and to Sam, is it real? Is it in her head? Is it in somebody else's head? Like, start to finish, what is happening in this movie? So whatever trailer they have up there, you can go ahead and watch, but don't do a lot of digging around for this one. If you're interested in it, just grab your crochet and throw this one on. For the atmosphere, it is definitely best to have a neck light. You don't need it on for the entire time because there are moments where it's during the day and we're chit-chatting with other people, other characters. But when it is nighttime, it is dark, like very, very dark, and it is the best to be in that atmosphere just to fully experience like what is happening, how Sam is feeling, completely isolated, alone, and it's dark on top of that. So I would suggest just having your neck light on, and you can turn it off when it gets a little bit lighter. There are a lot of jump scares in this one. It goes along with the movie, so I didn't find it to be super annoying, but if you are counting your stitches or you're doing something like color work, just have your stitch counter handy somewhere so that way when you start to hear the music escalate a little bit, you can quick put that stitch marker in and then look up at the TV of like what is happening, because you don't want to miss those. A lot of them basically tell exactly what is happening and you want those pieces to put together for the entire movie. But if you have to rewind, you miss the jump scare, it's not going to ruin the flow of it by any means. Something else that I think is fantastic about this movie is just the overall feel. It is so autumnal. So she is isolated in this house, basically a house in the woods, which points right there. I love any sort of cabin in the woods, house in the wood, all by yourself. It's surrounded by trees and all of the leaves are starting to change. There's a point where there's a ton of birds flying around, which disrupts all the leaves. So there is just a bunch of all colored leaves surrounding the house and it is so cozy. Add that with all of the characters are just covered in cozy sweaters. Think big knit cable type of sweaters, super cozy. They went with a lot of natural colors. And because of that, I'm going to be adding this one onto my must watch for the fall season. Whenever we get back around to that, right now, I mean, it is just dead of winter. But when we get to there, this is going to be on my fall list as well. Next up on our list is the movie Ash. We get an hour and 35 minutes of crochet time. A woman wakes up on a space station to find her crew viciously killed. This is another movie it's best to go into blind. You can watch the trailer if you want to. They do a pretty good job of not showing basically anything about the movie except for the two main things, and the ultimate reason why this movie is even on my list is the ambiance, the music and the colors of this movie. It's just phenomenal. And if what you're looking for is sci-fi background to crochet to, this one is your pick. Like, definitely have this going first, because plot aside, I mean, just from that little bit that we read, it's nothing earth-shattering. You've probably watched many other sci-fi horror movies with this same exact plot to it, but I don't think it takes away from the movie at all. I enjoyed it obviously a lot because I've watched this movie many, many times. It's one that I constantly reach for. I have it in DVD form. I put it on, shut all the lights off, and just crochet and totally enjoy the moment. This is one of the movies where I would love to get the soundtrack on vinyl. Having said all that, definitely use your neck light throughout. Like, there are moments where it is a little bit brighter later and you probably don't have to use it, but through and through, keep the lights off. You want to experience what this whole planet looks like, all the beautiful lighting that they have going on from it, and you don't want an overhead light kind of ruining that experience for you. So neck light if at all possible. And right now it is currently streaming on AMC Plus. Next on the list is Alien Romulus, where we get an hour and 59 minutes of crochet time. So a pretty decent amount of time to work on a crochet project. While scavenging a space station, a group finds more than they bargained for and now must fight for their lives to make it off again. Start to finish, I just had a great time with this movie. I love the Alien franchise. It really doesn't matter what the movie is, the plot, anything like that. I love the franchise. So every single time they have a new addition to it, I'm going to watch it. But this one in particular had a lot of things going for it. We have the abandoned space station. It's dark, it's damp, things are broken. We have no sense of direction, where we're going, where we've come from. And then on top of all of that, you add aliens into it, and it's just such a fun time. So having said all of those things, definitely keep the lights off. We're basically in like darkness the entire movie. Even before we make it onto the space station, things are pretty dark. There's not a lot of sun, there's not a lot of daylight. You're definitely going to want your neck light with you. You might even want to switch up the project that you're working on. Like if it's a stitch you don't know by memory, having just the neck light isn't going to be enough. Maybe switch over to a blanket or something like this where it's just a repetitive type of stitch, and that way you can fully enjoy what they have going on. Or if you have a neck light that has options for the lighting, so mine has 3 or 4 different options. We have like really, really bright all the way to just a super dim. If at all possible, have it on that super dim. So it just had so many different things happening, and I loved the feel of like, what would I do in this situation? I mean, I do that a lot with the Alien franchise and just like horror movies in general. Like, what would I do? What are the options that I would take? And a lot of times in this movie in particular, I have no idea. 10 out of 10 probably would not have made it. If I was one of the characters, I would have been like, this is wild. I have no solution for this one. So I thought that was kind of fun. They played around with the alien and just what it would be like fighting the alien, what are problems that would arise with that, which the list is just ever growing at this point in time. But they had some creative ways that the characters would go about that, and just visually, it was super stunning. This one is streaming video on demand at the moment. Next is Psycho Goreman. If you like your sci-fi horror with a healthy dose of comedy mixed in, this is going to be the one to watch. We get an hour and 39 minutes of crochet time. 2 siblings unwittingly resurrect an ancient alien overlord and must join up to save the Earth from intergalactic assassins. It is wild, and just from this alone, I feel like you can get the feel of how just goofy it is. It does not pretend to be anything that it's not. It knows what it's doing. It's not trying to be a serious type of horror sci-fi movie. No, it knows that it's a comedy movie. It knows that what it's doing is very playful. So because of that, the lighting is pretty bright throughout. So you're not going to have to worry about a neck light. You could even do intricate type of crochet, set everything out, and you're going to be just fine following along. Even when we get to moments in the movie where it is a little bit darker, the characters are just really well lit, so you're not going to have a problem looking up and seeing what's going on with the movie. The puppetry used in this was super fun, and the costumes just in general. Like I said, it feels like everybody involved in this movie had a great time, and it shows in every single scene, and that's what I love. Horror comedy is my all-time favorite. Like, that's what I'm naturally reaching for. So if it can spill over to other subgenres like science fiction, I'm very happy with it. To crochet to this one, it is currently streaming on AMC Plus. Next up is Snatchers, where we get an hour and 36 minutes of crochet time. And this is one of those movies where you just need to take my hand right now because we are going on a journey together. Sarah wakes up a day after being with her boyfriend to find out that she is pregnant. But what is she pregnant with? For the entire movie, we follow Sarah and her best friend running around the town trying to figure out not only what is happening, but also how to stop it, because ultimately this pregnancy of the parasite aliens is going to destroy the town. And that is not a spoiler. You can go ahead and pull the trailer up, and the movie poster, they have the aliens all over favorite right there, so not a spoiler. It's streaming on Tubi at the moment, and it was just a lot of fun. Start to finish, I had a great time. There are moments where I would like drink some of my coffee and almost spit it out from the one-liners that they had. This is definitely a movie I want to add to my physical movie collection. It was incredibly easy to crochet to, even though most of the events are happening during the nighttime. It's very well lit. There are surprisingly not that many jump scares, which you think would be kind of odd because of the fact that it's a parasite sci-fi that we're dealing with. You'd think there'd be a lot of things hiding, and even though they did have moments like that, it led up to it, or you could see it in the screen in like your peripheral. It wasn't anything that you need to have, the lights all down, fully immersed in it. Without a super dark room, you can still have a lot of fun with this one. Next, we have No One Will Save You. We get an hour and 33 minutes of crochet time, and this is currently streaming on Hulu. An exiled homebody battles an alien invasion. The first thing that you're going to notice about this movie is that there is hardly any dialogue. I say hardly because there are moments where we get a couple of characters that say something, but that's well into the movie. I mean, like, you're going to go a good 45, 50 minutes into the movie with no dialogue at all. You are reliant upon the characters, the music, and everything else that is happening. So because of that, it is a little bit difficult to crochet to just to get going, because you do have to focus on what's happening, and also when there are jump scares, which there are quite a few of them, you gotta see what's happening on it. I would highly suggest working on a project that is a very repetitive type of stitch, or you know exactly what you're doing. You don't have to count your stitches or anything like that. At least a good 30 to 35 minutes into the movie, and then you can kind of focus a little bit more on your project. I think they did a fantastic job though, without the dialogue and just heavily relying on the characters to express their story. It really worked for me. The necklight you are going to need, not because it's a super dark movie, but because the light fluctuates quite a bit. So we go from daytime, very bright, to the nighttime. Even that would be fine, but there are moments where there is flashing lights in the windows and things, so it distorts what you're seeing, and it might kind of like mess up where you're at. So I would suggest just having the necklight on for the whole movie. The aliens themselves were super fun, and they do these crazy dance movements in it that, even though this is a standalone movie, like start to finish, we don't need a second one. This was perfect how it was. We don't need a part two of No One Will Save You. But the aliens, I would have liked to see a little bit more just because of that reason. If you like a good alien invasion movie, definitely check out No One Will Save You. And lastly on our list for this week is It's What's Inside. We get an hour of 43 minutes of crochet time, and it is currently streaming on Netflix. A group of friends gather to celebrate before a wedding when a long unheard from friend of the group arrives with a mysterious suitcase and suggests playing a game. This is another movie. It's best to know as little as possible about it. I wouldn't even suggest watching the trailer. Just put it on and enjoy. You could pull up the movie poster, which I think is amazing, and one that I would love to have in my movie room. It's going to be very hard for me to talk about this movie without giving away huge spoilers, so I'm just going to say that I loved the plot. I thought it was very fun. There definitely is some comedy elements to it. It's a very rewatchable movie, even after you figure out what has happened. Like, what is the secret? What's the spoiler of it? Knowing all of that, I did rewatch it recently thinking I wasn't going to have as much fun because I know the mystery is gone from the movie. I know everything that's happening. That wasn't the case. I still enjoyed it quite a bit. You will need to have your neck light on, not because the movie is super dark, but just because there's a lot of light changing within it. You're going to want a little bit of consistency on whatever project you're working on, but darkness, not too bad. So if you're doing something like color work, you're going to be just fine with this movie. So that is our entire queue for this week's sci-fi horror movies that we're going to be watching. Hopefully there's something that you're excited about in here. And if you're going to watch all of them, let me know in the comments and rank them from I am super excited I have to watch this tonight to I really like this one, but I can wait all the way to the end of the week. Now we're going to move on to the thrifted finds of the week. I'm constantly thrifting for for physical media to add to my collection. And these ones, though they are not sci-fi related, I thought they were just super fun and we had to have a little chat about them. First off, I found the Mayfair Witches Season 1 complete collection, thrifted this. This was actually like wrapped, had never been used, found this in the DVD bins, just buried underneath a pile of other movies. Fantastic find. Mayfair Witches, it's a year-round thing. I can watch this every single night. Visually, this is super stunning. If you know Anne Rice, it's an entire whole universe there. There's a lot that you can get into. If you've never experienced Anne Rice, from Interviews to a Vampire to Mayfair Witches to, there's just like a lot of things. The Talamasca, that is new-ish on AMC. I highly suggest starting with the Mayfair Witches though. It's beautiful. The house that she's in is stunning. The wallpaper is gorgeous. So another movie that I had a lot of fun with, or series, I guess, that I had a lot of fun with as I was crocheting. And it's actually very easy to crochet to, because even though the cover makes it look very dark, it's pretty well lit on any given scene. And there's a lot of dialogue moving every single character. So you can pay attention, not pay attention, just have it in the background. I like crocheting to this one. Next was a total random pick. I had never heard of this movie, The Drownsman. I just grabbed it on a whim because of the cover art. Do that with movies quite often, and this one actually paid off. It's going to be one that I add into my urban legend collection that I watch quite often. The only thing that I think is unfortunate about this is that it says a new horror creation worthy of standing alongside the likes of Jason, Michael, and Freddy. Don't listen to that, because if you compare them, you're not going to have as good of a time, where if that's completely out of your mind, which is how I approached this movie, I kind of thought, okay, no way. They're just such iconic characters that you can't compare them to any single movie. You can't even compare Jason to Michael to Freddy. They are their own things. It was really fun. Like, this was a fun urban legend. It didn't feel slow. I mean, you know what you're getting into it right away. If water horror is one of those movies you reach for when you want to have a scary time, definitely check this one out because it's going to deliver for you. My last find of the week was quite possibly the best thing that I could ever think of finding at a thrift store. It was my most anticipated movie of 2025, and I found it at a thrift store. Like, this is just so wild to me still. I cannot believe it. Clown in a Cornfield. Definitely not for everybody, but 100% for me. I was through the roof excited when I watched this movie. It delivered on every single element, which is kind of crazy because my standards were all the way up here for everything, and it ticked the box of everything that I wanted it to. Chock full of gnarly kills. It wasn't a watered down slasher. There was meat to it. Like, it was a genuine slasher in a small town surrounded by cornfields. Definitely a movie to watch going into August, September, even the beginning of October. It gives you the spooky vibes, and there were some comedy moments to it as well, which for me, that's a perfect blend. Now for the crochet portion, what have I been working on this entire time that you and I have been chit-chatting? This was called Eye of Vecna, and it is beautiful. I love how right there, the red looks kind of splattery. It's not a solid red. Love that. Mini hanks of yarn. I'm constantly thinking up patterns for that because you can get a little sample from that artist of their dye process and also the colors that they come up with without committing to like a cardigan or a blanket or something like that. This type of wrap is something that I normally go for, or put it up on my head to cover my ears because I hate it when my ears are super cold, and it is just that time of year. It's just cold, windy, snowy. I need all the soft and cozy things that I can get my hands on. So this is going to be perfect. It's really not going to get to be much longer, but it is going to get a little bit wider, which is exactly what I wanted. So at the end here, I've been building up a square every single row. So we're going to get a lot more, and I can tie it and make a bow from it. But yeah, that's what I've been working on as I've been watching all these sci-fi movies. So let me know what you've been crocheting this week. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy this week's sci-fi horror movie queue. Have a super spooky time crocheting, and I will see you in my next video.